Welcome to the New Mexico Farm and Ranch Heritage Museum. We hope that you will enjoy this opportunity to travel through time. Experience farming, ranching, and rural life as our ancestors knew it, and discover how it has shaped the lives of today's New Mexicans. In our Heritage Gallery, you'll visit the 150 generations of farmers and ranchers whose vision, innovation, and determination shaped arid lands, agriculture, and rural culture. You'll step into farm life in the 1930s with its daily time-consuming tasks and the occasional exciting trip to town to stock up on provisions, catch up on news, and visit with friends. And you'll take a virtual drive along our highways, viewing crops and irrigated fields and the modern farming practices used to produce them. Outside, you'll visit the blacksmith shop, Witty Cabin, and Antique Farm Equipment Park. Crossing the historic bridge over Tortugas Arroyo to the South 20, where you'll see the demonstration field and orchards, and the barns and corrals that house the museum's beef and dairy herds and sheep and goat flocks. In a single day's museum visit, you'll experience New Mexico's long, rich, and varied agricultural history. In the beginning, for thousands of years, ancient people of the American Southwest traveled in small bands, hunting game and collecting wild plants in season. Prickly pear provided cactus fruit, or tunas, and agave, when roasted, provided a nutritious meal. By 1500 BC, contact with neighbors to the south brought corn and squash cultivation to the American Southwest. By 500 BC, native New Mexicans also were cultivating beans, and by 500 AD they were growing cotton and amaranth. Corn, stored in great amounts by the Pueblo Indians, allowed the Spanish colonists to survive their first years in New Mexico. The colonists, in turn, established fruit orchards, vineyards, and grain crops that diversified local offerings. Today, corn for people and for livestock is still grown in New Mexico on large and small acreage farms. But the state now has 10,000 farms with 2.5 million acres of cropland, and you're just as likely to see cotton, alfalfa, onions, lettuce, cabbage, and chili, the state's signature crop. Apples and other fruits were popular orchard crops early in the 1900s, but today, pecans and pistachios dominate tree orchard production. Water is essential to New Mexico agriculture, even though less than 2% of land is irrigated cropland. Today, large-scale irrigation projects supply water for more than 800,000 acres of irrigated crop and pasture land in the state. The roots of modern irrigation technology, however, reach back 1,000 years when Pueblo Indians were developing ingenious agricultural systems that used border gardens and gravel mulches to harvest rainfall on upland mesas, and basic ditch irrigation to move water where it was needed. They also planted on floodplains and mouths of arroyos to take advantage of those wetter areas. Following the Puebloans' lead, Spanish settlers in the 17th century built systems of acequias or ditches to channel water from rivers and streams into fields and orchards. With the arrival of the railroad in 1878, wells were drilled and windmills installed to pump water for steam engines. The railroads and the windmills had a profound effect on New Mexico's agrarian traditions. The arrival of the railroad was a boon to ranchers. Not only did the railroad make it much easier to get animals to market, eliminating lengthy cattle and sheep drives, but windmill technology was adopted by ranchers to water livestock in areas away from traditional water sources, allowing the expansion of ranching operations. While you might think of New Mexico as the realm of the cowboy, until the early 1900s, the shepherd was much more common. Until 1953, there were more sheep than cattle in the state. Sheep, descendants of the Chota brought by the Spanish, were raised on hacienda estates and driven to markets in northern Mexico. Then, later, to the west to feed California miners and Utah Mormons, and later yet to feedlots in the Great Plains. The original Corriente, or Criollo cattle brought to New Mexico by the Spanish, were crossbred with breeds that later settlers brought from England, Scotland, and France. The aim was to develop herds that were rugged enough to thrive on arid rangelands. A half-dozen major breeds, including the Brangas, dominate New Mexico livestock production today. In recent years, dairy cattle have become important to the New Mexico livestock industry. Large dairies use plentiful New Mexico alfalfa hay to feed thousands of cows that are milked on round-the-clock schedules. Today, dairy products like milk, cheese, and butter generate more income than any other area of New Mexico agriculture. Throughout history, New Mexico's farmers and ranchers have been separated by space, but united by pioneering spirit, ingenuity, hard work, and self-reliance.
We've got like 2 or 3% of the people in agriculture now producing the food, the clothing, but the rest of it. So many young folks don't realize that. You just go back into history and read about how these people came to this country and what the trials and tribulations that they went through even to survive. I try to emphasize the fact that our museum is an educational place for the young people to understand and appreciate what has happened.
As you continue your museum visit, check in the lobby for a schedule of the Parade of Breeds and demonstrations such as weaving, spinning, quilting, milking, or cooking that are presented throughout the museum campus. Youngsters will enjoy the Adventure Corral and the Discovery Garden. Our gift shop features books on local and regional history, cookbooks, jewelry, and many New Mexico mementos and specialty foods. And our snack bar offers beverages and tasty treats. Enjoy your visit and plan another one soon. In addition to our permanent collections, the museum offers changing exhibits about the history, art, archaeology, and science of New Mexico farming, ranching, and rural life. We offer many special events, classes, programs, and guided tours throughout the year. Ask in the lobby for our upcoming schedule and visit our website for up-to-date information.